Well, hello everyone. Nathan Rickney here from NGR Accounting. A very unprofessional looking accountant today. I've sort of taken that home look, brought it into the office. I am still in the office. Luckily today we are joined with Esther Colman from the HR department, and Esther's going to run us through everything HR you need to know during COVID-19 with all the changes with business and employees and the tough decisions you have to make. So give us a yell out there, Esther.
Hi everyone, nice to be joining you this morning and nice to see a more relaxed looking accountant.
That's it. Well, Esther focuses on small to medium sized businesses with startup from a startup right up to 200 employees. And what else can you, I guess, tell me as a bit of an intro about yourself? Because you probably know better than me, that's for sure.
I've had 20 plus years in HR, mainly corporate roles in supermarkets and logistics and retail as well. Till a year ago when I started my own business, because I found there was a niche in the market for small to medium-sized business owners who really wanted that corporate level, GM level HR advice, but at a fraction of the cost, and for that advice to be really practical and pragmatic and suited for their small business environment.
Yeah, and I can say as well that I've actually referred you a few clients and they've been very happy, and yeah, look, it's, you know, you need advice sometimes when you got to make these tough decisions about employees, or I guess matters with employees. But let's just jump straight into it. But I guess the implications with COVID-19 is that business owners, they don't want to, but they're at a point where everything's been put on hold and revenue or turnover isn't coming into the business. So therefore they're needing to say goodbye to their employees, whether that's permanently or just hopefully for now. And I mean, look, I think we all hope that this is something that we get over very quickly. But I guess today I think we want to address those typical questions that I've been hearing, and because I'm not a HR specialist, I don't really want to answer those questions. So I thought, why not put together this meeting and get a professional to answer these questions. So changing an employee, I mean, you might find that maybe your reduction of turnover has gone down. You might say to a full-time employee, well, I can only have you part-time, or they might go to casual. What, can that be done? What are the implications? Tell us.
Yes, I think this has kind of gone in waves. At first, it was initially, okay, we need to transition to working from home. So it was around working from home policies. And then as the crisis grew, I was getting more and more calls from business owners saying, I need to do something with my staff, my cash flow is seriously impacted, and what can I do? And there are many things you can do. And certainly temporarily looking at status changes. I've done that with one of my clients, for example, where she hadn't been in the business that long as a permanent full-time person, and we transitioned her into a casual agreement because she wants to keep her around, but she just doesn't have those full-time hours right now. And that's something that she can commit to review once the business gets back to normal. The key things, I think, from an HR perspective to consider are whether your employees are covered by a modern award, and making sure that you are adhering to the consultation provisions in those awards, which usually means that you have to consult with your employees, tell them what it is you're proposing to do, whether that's changing status, reducing hours, reducing pay along with those hours reduction, and ask them for their feedback and suggestions and any alternatives that they might want you to consider. And then the second thing is really that change needs to be by mutual agreement. And I would always recommend putting any change in writing, and also having a review date. This thing is so fluid, you might be reviewing it every 2 to 4 weeks, for example.
Yeah, and once you come to that agreement with your employee, is, I guess, strongly, be a document that both employer and employee signs off on.
Yeah, I've been writing a lot of templates around reduction in working hours, around moving employees onto a period of unpaid leave, around asking them to take their leave that they may have available, which isn't always great for some businesses if you don't have the cash flow to, you know, pay the leave right now. And yet all of that is in writing, and the employee signs at the bottom of that letter to say that yes, they understand, acknowledge and agree to that change, and they know when it's going to be reviewed again. And it's about keeping those lines of communication open. With the business owners and employers that I've been dealing with, everyone is very understanding. When you have those conversations, they kind of know that the conversations were coming. So it's just about being prepared about what message you're going to be sending, what you're going to ask them to do. Hopefully they will agree to that, and then you put those measures in place.
Yeah. Okay. So I didn't even know that's why it was sort of happening. So I guess people aren't actually being terminated as such. They're probably being more sort of put on hold, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think this term hibernation is a little bit confusing when you're trying to equate, well, what does that mean for employment law? But and there's obviously been a lot in the news about standing down. Stand down provisions are really not applicable if you just have a downturn in business. They're more applicable if you've got a complete stoppage of work. For example, if you are a gym owner, you're no longer allowed to open your gym. Then you would work out whether you can usefully employ your employees in other activities, whether that's online, Zoom sessions, whatever it might be. But if you can't, then you can stand down those employees. And the other thing that's important that employees are wanting at the moment is some evidence. So again, putting that in writing, if they are redundant or if they are terminated for whatever reason, then making sure that you can provide them with those separation certificates so they can go to Centrelink and get benefits as soon as possible. And I also noticed that the government are going to be coming to the party in terms of subsidising wages. At the moment, they're talking about $1,500 per fortnight per employee. And I think that's something that's going to get more in terms of the mechanics of how that works. That's going to be announced later today. So it's ever moving. So I would just ensure that when you have a plan, you just kind of keep your eye open to what's happening out there, what might be coming next, and then keep your plan fluid so you can respond to it, and then keep those communications up with your employees.
Yeah, it definitely is changing every day, and I know that on the tax side of things that, you know, we have a stimulus package that we talk about, and then we're sort of sometimes in like limbo, like, is it law yet? I mean, like the first and second that came out, we were advising on it, but it was like at the end, we don't know if this is, it yet or not until it passes, gets royal assent. So yeah, I mean, it's very hard to sort of get that advice, and certainly for your clients and employers and employers out there, where they stand.
Yeah.
So I guess going back to, and I think you had a really good point there with the gyms as an example. Now I know with gyms, they tend to, a lot of their personal trainers are sitting there as contractors. How is that different to, say, a typical employee?
So with an independent contractor, then they are engaged usually for a period of time or a specific piece of work, or they may do work for other businesses. So with those arrangements, you would be either reducing the arrangement, say you need them normally 4 days a week, you might say it's 1, or you might be terminating that arrangement, which is slightly easy to do for independent contracts. But again, you need to look at the contract that you've got in place, as you would with your employees. Check the contract, check any other policies that you might have in place before you do anything. And no different to consulting with your accountant before you make financial decisions is around having someone from that employment law and HR space that you can consult with before you make any decisions, or before you go and talk to your employees, to make sure that you've got all your ducks in a row, and you're going to do it fairly and also with dignity for those people that are affected.
Right. And any other sort of solutions like that you've been sort of handing out to your contacts, your clients during the week?
I think it's about having that two-way conversation, because we might, as business owners, you might not have the answers. And I would say don't make assumptions about what it is your employees might want or might prefer. Really go into that consultation process and say, these are the ideas that we have. Is there anything else that you would like us to consider? And think outside the box. Are there other activities that you could get your guys to be working on? Is there a new income stream that's going to come out of this crisis? Can they be doing things that they would normally only do when they have downtime, and they've got more downtime now? So thinking more creatively about how you can keep people engaged and keep that connection with the business, because hopefully with the support that the government is giving, it will be that, yeah, you maybe have a period where you're not all working 100%, but the idea is that you get back to that full business and you're able to recover with the employees that you had at the start.
Yeah, I guess it's a real test for the business owners out there to see how they can adapt to change. And
Yeah.
I've been saying that I think at the end of this we're going to see those who have planned a really good business and they've built a business that's strong to deal with the unknown. And I mean, look, no one knew that. I guess that maybe even probably a month ago we knew of the coronavirus, but no one really thought, oh well, this is how hard we're going to be hit. And now here we are. But you'll find, I think, when we come out of this, those who have a really strong business and have adapted, and it's because of all the hard work they put in before this was even thought of. So yeah, but yeah, that's great. So look, I guess probably just closing up. Was there any other relevant stories or anything you've come across just lately in the last week or two?
I think the thing that's stood out for me is the understanding and the resilience from employees, especially with small business owners, and how they really do understand that it's unprecedented. It's like nothing we've seen before, and these business owners are trying to battle through themselves. So that's really impressed me, I guess, in terms of a lot of the people that I've been talking to, a lot of the conversations, difficult conversations I've had with employees. So everyone is, I think, being more understanding of the situation that we're all in.
Definitely. Well, and so lastly, before you go, thanks for your time. Where can we find you? Your website, your details for any clients out there. And I do believe you had a little bit of an offer there with for new clients.
I did. So you can find me at the HR department, HRdept.com.au, Eastern Suburbs Sydney. Bit of a mouthful. But if any of your clients wish to have a free 30-minute consultation with me to discuss what people plan you might need to put in place going forward, that's something I'm offering to give that little extra bit of help right now. So maybe I'll give you my contact details, Nathan, you can share them.
I'd love to do that. Well, Esther, thank you. Esther from the HR department. She's here for businesses that are in need and beyond that as well, of course. And yeah, so thank you.
Thanks for having me.